live demo. So before you get started, just make sure you have a SIP or analog trunk uh, up and running. If you have a SIP trunk, make sure it is registered so you can check this information under the system status dashboard. Just make sure you have an analog trunk registered. In my case, I'm going to use 1010, this one. It is registered. It is in blue. If it's in red, it means it's not reachable or the registration is rejected. So just make sure you have at least one trunking method enabled on your UCM. And then you can go ahead and create an outbound rule. So you can go here under extension / trunk, outbound routes, and then you can create one. You can give it any name, and for the pattern, it could be anything you like. For example, if you need to prepend with 9, if you want to prepend with 9 for when you dial national, just make sure here you have 10 digits, and here you can strip 1. So the user will dial 10 digits just to differentiate, and then the UCM will strip the 9 and send the 10 digits to the SIP carrier. You can set up a password, the unified password, to be able to dial through this trunk, or just you can use the pin group. Here the pin group, so you can create one. I've already created like group or custom group. I'm going to show you how to create this group. So you can go to outbound routes, and then here you have pin groups, and here you can add one. So you can give it a name and add members. So in my case, I've already have like 3 members, John, Paul, and me. So I'm going to remove all these members. I'm going to create it again so you can see how it will be done. So just add, and then give it a pin number. It could be like 0123 or something like. So here I can't put like easy numbers. I'm going to use 4001. I'm going to give it to John. And then I'm going to add another number, for example 5002. I'm going to give it to Lily. Save, and etc. So this is how you can attribute multiple users for each pin number. And then you can go back to the outbound rule, and then you edit your outbound rule, and then choose from the list the group you want to use. In my case, it's a custom group. You can see here, once the custom group is selected, the privilege level is already grayed out, because we've already like gave a privilege to this specific group to dial out through this outbound rule. So we're going to go ahead and remove this one. I'm going to speak right now about the privilege level. So under the outbound rule, you have a setting where you can set up the privilege level. Here you have from the lowest to the highest. When it's disabled, it means no one can dial out through it. So just make sure you have at least internal as a privilege level. If you want to restrict some groups, you can give it an international. Save and apply. And then you have to go back to the extension level and make sure your extension, the extension you're using, is has the right privilege. For example, I'm going to choose this one. So in my case here, my permission is internal, so there is no way I can dial through that outbound rule where the privilege level is international. So I have to go here and change it to international, so I would be able to dial out through this outbound rule. So for the blacklist, or let me go back to the outbound route. Yeah, so here you can choose the failover trunk. For example, I have, you can use, here you can add, you can add one. So I'm going to choose the analog trunk. There is no need to strip or prepend. This is just a test. And then save and apply. So in this case, when you create the failover as the analog trunk, if there is any issue with the main SIP trunk, the UCM will automatically jump to the failover trunking method and dial out through it. You can restrict the calls based on the time condition, but before you do this, you have to create an office time. Here you can add the time condition, so you have office time or out of office time. The office time could be created under system settings, time settings, and you have here office time. So in my case, I've created one from 8:30 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. You can do whatever you want with it. So you can change if you have another holidays or like another weekends. You can change here. If you have another business hours, you can, for example, if it's from 9, you can just change here from 9. For example, I'm going to choose 9 to 5:30. So this is our office time. Just save. And then you have to go back to the outbound settings and then select the out of office time. So you have office time and out of office time. So you need to create like two destinations. So here we can add an out of office time. So if we meet, so out of office time, it should be anything else, whatever outside the scope of office time. I need to mention this for the specific time. So you can create a specific time. For example, if you need to have like this would be helpful for the inbound route. Just make sure you have the office and out office time created so you can use it with the outbound route. I'm going to go cover the inbound route. So to create an inbound route, you need to choose the trunking method you're using. In my case, I'm using this one. So I have already created this one. I'm going to create another one with another DID. So I'm going to give the ID to like 00201, and the default destination should be it could be an extension or voicemail, whatever you need to choose from this list. In my case, I'm going to choose a simple extension. It should be my own extension here. Save. So here you can add an alert info. So you can choose from the list. So when I choose, for example, ring 5, save and apply. So once the call is coming from this trunk with this specific DID 2001, the phone will ring differently. So the phone 2001 will ring differently. You can also prepend with the trunk name. So the trunk name here is simple, is 21010, or you can use like a defined name. So you can give it like HVAC, for example. So on the LCD screen, once the call is coming with the ID 2001, on the LCD screen you're going to see HVAC and the caller ID, the caller ID of the caller, and it will be the phone will ring with another ringtone. For the blacklist, so you can blacklist any number. So you can choose, for example, this number. If you need to blacklist a specific number, just give it a number, or you can blacklist a pattern, for example, 1-800. So all the 800 extensions or the IDs will be rejected by the UCM. So the receptionist will not be bothered with some commercials or some marketing issues. For the caller ID management, so you can set up, this is related to the outbound route. So you can set up this one under the trunk. So you have here a trunk. So this is the highest. This is the highest one. If you check this one, keep trunk caller ID, and the caller ID should be from user. For example, 617-566-9300. This is our DID. So when I dial out, the trunk will send this caller ID number. Wherever you have in the caller ID number configured under the extension settings or the DoD. Save. So this is the highest privilege. If you need to configure the caller ID based on the DoD, you need to go back and then disable the keep trunk caller ID. And then you can go back and then edit the DoD, and then for each number you can give like specific DoD number along with a DoD name, or you can give all the extension the same DoD, or you can give it one by one. It depends on your strategy. So we have the trunk. So the caller ID could be set up based on the trunk, or for example, if this extension, for example, 2007, we're going to give it like a caller ID for 617-566-9301. So I have a specific DID for the extension 2007. In this case, this one will be used because when I go to the VoIP trunk and I edit the DoD, there is no extension 2007. So here it's not set up, and under the VoIP trunk, when I edit, so the use caller ID or keep trunk caller ID is not checked. So in this case, the extension number will send its caller ID. If the extension has no caller ID, you can set up the caller ID based on the global caller ID here. It would be under general settings, and then global outbound caller ID. It could be you have the caller ID number and name. So here I have already put 888779999. This is just an example. You can change it to whatever you want. So this is basically how you can manage the caller ID. For the troubleshooting, if you have any issues with the inbound, outbound calls. So we always suggest you to open a technical support ticket with us at helpdesk.grandstream.com and just reproduce the issue and go to maintenance, network troubleshooting, Ethernet capture, and take the trace. And then we're going to troubleshoot what's exactly the issue. It could be a NAT issue, it could be something related to the DID, it could be anything else. So we can take a look at the trace, and sometimes we need to remote in and do a remote session and see the current configuration on the UCM to find out exactly why the UCM is misbehaving. So this is it for today's webinar. If you have any questions, I'm going to stay here to answer. I'm going to take a look at the Q&A section, and I will get back to you with all the answers. Thank you.